waxing deep. We had this amazing episode that we're like, this is gonna blow the internets wide open. This is finally our claim to fame. This is our viral video, and lo and behold, good old technology, we didn't capture 1 red cent. But we're not angry about it. We're not bitter. We get better. I am Andre, and welcome to our episode, Economic Development, Urban Impact. Say your first name, people.
My name is Jaleel, Business Education.
And I'm Mara, Economic Development.
Hello, I'm Michelle Urrea.
All right, cool. So we're talking about effective leadership in scary times. One of the cool things that we talked about that's a characteristic of an effective leader in some troubled or scary times is that they're clear on purpose. What does that mean to people sitting here?
So if you're going to be leading anyone, leading yourself, you want to make sure that that person that you're following is absolutely clear about where they're going. You know, you've heard of the saying, like, the blind leading the blind.
Yes.
It's a funny statement, but it's like, you don't want to be in that situation. You know, you don't want to follow a blind man off the cliff. You want to be clear about where you're going. And a big thing with leadership is you start with yourself first. And I'm not even going to try to quote the Chinese proverb, but it had something to do with, you're not a leader unless people are following you. That was pretty much the gist of it. And the truth of the matter is that's wrong. If you don't lead yourself first, then you're not going to be able to have the gumption to lead anyone else. And so, to lead yourself, you need to be clear about what you want. You know, that was one of the main things we were talking about earlier today.
In our deeper episode. So clear on purpose. So you're saying, from what I hear you say, sir, you're saying that leadership begins with self-discovery.
Absolutely. It's the inward journey first. I truly believe that. Because leadership is influence. And so when you can influence yourself and practice discipline and self-discipline yourself, who you become grows and expands, and it attracts other people to follow who you are. Your energy becomes more attractive because you're first leading yourself. Like, I look at Jesus Christ. He was revolutionary. The things that he was teaching, the things that he was saying in his time was absolutely countercultural to his day and age. Still today, his message is countercultural. It's divisive. You have to have an opinion on who he is and his ideas. And that's, I believe, at one of the symptoms of byproducts of real leadership is where you have to have an opinion. You have to have a stance. You know what I'm saying? On the stance that he took. And so it's like, but he led himself. The people from his own town weren't even rocking with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, all these strangers were like, hey, oh, this guy's great. But the people from Bethlehem like, ain't you Mary's son? And that's not even your daddy. So, like, who are you? You know? But it starts with yourself. So we're talking about clarity. You need to be clear on who you want to be and what you're doing in yourself first. And then eventually other people fall into that. But I believe in our day and age, it's backwards. We've got social media. We've got the TikTok where we're like, oh.
The highlight reel.
The highlight reel. I'm a leader if I have a bunch of followers. Mm-hmm. And then you're so focused on trying to appease everyone else that you lost yourself like years ago.
It's like you'd rather be liked than loved.
Now that's deep. That's a good one.
You looking for likes? When there are people around you.
Wait, say it again though. It's like you'd rather be liked
You'd rather
than loved.
be liked than loved. And they got the little heart feature as well, but for the most part we're chasing likes because it's a byproduct of the emptiness from feeling that it's from external that what defines us versus the internal. It's like if you know who you are and whose you are and what you bring to the table through the gift that you've been. Every single person has a gift. There's nobody on this planet that doesn't have a gift. People arrive with a gift, with a dominant domain of expertise, with a zone of influence, a sphere of influence, and the gift is what opens up doorways for you. The gift is where that gift shines through your business. When you use the gift that you have to serve others, to lift others up, they're going to come to you and follow you because of your gift. We're not watching Serena Williams or Coco Gauff because we just love them as people.
So true.
Oh, her outfit is so fresh. Her outfit could be as fresh as can be, but she plays very well. She's playing at a high level, so people want to see it, and people from all around the world are tuning in and filling in an arena to see her play. Sabalenka. You know, my kids hate it because I kept saying that name over and over again because I like saying it. No disrespect. I just like saying the name Sabalenka. Sabalenka. But you have people who are being followed because of their gift in your business. What's your gift? So clear on purpose, effective on your purpose during a troubled time, because if you don't have that clarity, you know, without a vision, we talked about last week, without a clear revelation of what it is you're doing, people are perishing or they're casting off restraint, which means you don't have anything to be the guardrails of your life if you're not clear on what you're doing. When this woman gets up in the morning, she's not getting up, let me figure out one thing I want to do today. It is, I know a direction that I'm going because of what I've said before. This is not a guessing game. It's not getting up and being like, heads or tails. What am I going to do today? So talk about being clear on that.
And I'll share that I am our grit champion of the team.
All right.
So I
Let's go.
helped
Grit.
conduct a whole bunch
Gritty.
of...
It's like I'm I just learned something anyway. Keep going. Ignore my ADD tendencies.
I helped conduct a whole bunch of interviews for
That's good.
partners worldwide.
Yes.
And they were they basically were gathering data about grit and entrepreneurs. And so out of all of the entrepreneurs that I interviewed, it was interesting. They asked me to pick like 6 to interview, and the only thing they asked me to really choose is someone who I think is a great entrepreneur and someone who needs like strength and growing as an entrepreneur.
And we won't tell you who's who.
I
so
will
don't
not.
ask.
I will not share that. But it was interesting. The difference. One of the questions that they asked was, "Do you feel like you finished what you started?" And do you feel like there's 2 questions? Do you finish what you started? And then the other one was, do you feel like you just have all these ideas all the time that you want to like jump from idea to idea to idea? The person that I chose as the strongest entrepreneur said, no, I don't have idea to idea to idea. I have my one idea that I am waking up to do every day, and that's what I've been sticking to for X many years. And then and the other person was kind of like, oh, I don't know about my business. It's been good so far, but I think I want to do this instead, or I think I want to do that instead. And their mind was just kind of scattered. And then what was the other question? Do you finish what you started?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, man. This person was like, the person I chose the strongest, they're like, yes. Like, you know, like their answers were just so concrete in who they were.
Yes.
It was just like, no, yes. Why are you even asking me that question? Like, what do you mean? Of course, you know, it was almost like an insult to them. So I'm sitting there like, wow, it's interesting. And all these different people who are entrepreneurs have their own businesses, but everyone's evaluation of themselves is like ranging across the board.
That's self-awareness too.
Yeah.
That's a high level of self-awareness. We talk about that importance of how it's not just IQ or intellectual quotient that is going to lift us up during this time. People have to have high EQ, high emotional intelligence. That's self-awareness. That's empathy. That is the ability to be a good listener, to connect, to solve problems. Like there's so many different things that are that help us to grow as leaders. Let's talk about the ability to be a good listener. Give an example of somebody that you know was a good listener during, and how that plays into your leadership.
My turn.
There we go.
Yeah, Mara.
Well, what I want to share is you have to be able to identify and recognize different leadership types, right? I think oftentimes on job interviews, they ask you, like, what was the best boss you ever had? Or what was the worst boss you ever had? And whether you're interviewing for a leadership position or not, it's really important to process that, right? Because eventually I would think everyone would grow to be a boss or a leader in their own right. And so what are some of the things that you want the people that report to you to say about you, right? You want them to say that you're approachable, that you listen, that you know how to handle problems well. So I would think that being a good listener is key to that. Like if I were to define myself, I would definitely own being a servant leader, because I want to be part of the solution and not just on top of this level of hierarchy. So being a good listener can benefit you in your personal life as well as your professional life. You know, just take the time to understand beyond your logic and your concept how you could help make someone else's situation a little bit better. And essentially, as entrepreneurs, that's what we do, right? You understand that you're finding a better process, a better way, and fulfilling a need.
That's right.
She runs into people constantly who will know her from different iterations of time that they interact, and they'll say, thank you for this. I remember you helped me. Thank you for spending that time. Thank you for pointing me to this resource. That is what we're talking about, is are you adding value into people's life? If it's all about bless me and my four and no more, then we're missing out. There is that opportunity for you want to see your business take off, then who are you serving? Who have you identified to alleviate their pain, to solve their problem, to help them level up? Because that's a real effective leader. The person who he appointed, he said Jesus. It's like Jesus was known for those that he lifted up, not for lifting himself up. Yeah. He actually made people were in his presence, and he is bringing them out of confusion and different situations, and the healing and the freedom and the feeding them, and he's lifting them up and making them walk in their purpose and what their purpose is, and who are you bringing closer to the purpose of why they're on this planet. When your business, we read in the earlier edition of which you'll never see, it's in the heavenly files. Chick-fil-A's corporate purpose is to glorify God by being a faithful steward in all that is entrusted to us, and to have a positive influence on all who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. What does that have to do with chicken? What is that? You don't hear one thing about a chicken sandwich, a war with Popeyes, war with KFC. You don't hear none of that. Who has the better lemonade? Who has the peach drink? Nobody's talking about none of that. It's talking about.
Obviously, you know a lot about this.
I live vicariously through others because I can't eat chicken. I want to. I'm allergic, but that's a whole nother story. Pray for me to get free. All right. So, but that is powerful to me that they're clear on purpose. That you notice in their purpose statement, they're saying something about glorifying who they believe is their source, being a faithful steward or a manager of what's entrusted to them, and having a positive influence on all who come in contact with their business. How much clearer could we be? When you think about your own business, I'm not saying adopt their purpose. I don't know what your journey is. I don't know what you believe or any of that. What I'm saying is, here's an example of why you have a company that makes more per store than any fast food restaurant on planet Earth, because they're very clear on their purpose. And we talk about good listening, and we talked about how to be a good listener, if you take the word listen, you arrange the letters, or you rearrange them, it's the word silent. So good listeners are people who can practice being silent and practice empathetic listening. Practice active listening. An example of empathetic listening would be your customers telling you, hey, I really feel that this product would be better if this, because as I used it, this was the problem with it. And you just blow right past that, and you'd be like, well, there's other people who seem to do just perfectly fine with it. So I'm sorry, I can't help you. Like, that's not an empathetic listener. Empathetic listener is, okay, wow, we're sorry that you had that experience. It's funny, there was an ongoing meme, speaking of Chick-fil-A, I don't know if I'm just hungry for lunch, but they had, and they're not even sponsoring us. Shout out to a sponsorship. As a matter of fact, I done said that a couple times, so we're going to arrange something. But when there was a meme that was going around online where they said how Chick-fil-A, one lady was going in saying how she had this bad experience and they messed up on her order, and they were saying, what do the young people say, cap or something? They were like, cap. They were like, that's false, because they said they don't mess up on orders, and they said, and if they did mess up on my order, Chick-fil-A knows me so well, they know what's best for me. So people give them a benefit of a doubt because of the positive experiences that they have from them, that the joke is basically that even if they make the mistake, you're still gonna win because they actually care about in your business. Are you having that kind of touch point with how you're connected with your customers? That you're listening, you're actively listening, you're empathetically listening, you're making the pivots to give them a better experience. Anybody else have anything to say about good listening?
Actually, yes. So there's two scriptures that come to mind. One is that my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. And there's another scripture that says, in all thy getting, get an understanding. Those are the two scriptures that really came to my mind as we're talking about listening, because when you are silent and you take the time to listen, and I even take it a step further because you want to be excellent in all things. That's another principle of leadership. Listen to not only what people are saying, and this also comes from a sales background because that was the industry I was in prior to this, doing mortgages and stuff. But they trained us to, you're listening to not just what people are saying. Like that's kind of the top 20%. What the 80% is body language, is tonality, where are their eyes going when they're talking to you. Like there's literally books out there where you can to read, and it kind of goes deep, but essentially like when people are telling you something, you can oftentimes figure out if they're recounting a memory, if they like look up and to the right, or if they're trying to make something up.
Creativity by it's going
up to the left, because the right and the left sides of your brains have different.
Now don't take that and run that and try to call somebody a liar.
Right, yeah.
You heard Mr. Jalil say that. Don't run and be like, you're lying. I saw you accessing the creative part of your brain right there.
Right. Shout out to there's a show called Lie to Me. They kind of touch on some of those things. It's super interesting. But anyways, all that to be said is the next level in listening is to really, and we actually talked about this in our ghost episode prior to this one, in being focused, being present in where you are. And so when you are practicing listening, get an understanding of who you're talking to, get an understanding of your target customer. What do they want? What is their response? What is the feeling that they get when they walk in your presence or engage with your product or services? What is their body language like when they leave the room? Are their shoulders back? Do they feel confident? Are they kind of slouched? Are they closing themselves off to you because they don't feel comfortable, or something with your product or your presence is making them feel reserved? That's not the experience that you want. When you're talking to your spouse, your child, your nephew, your cousin, how are they engaging with you? The more you can listen, the more information you can take in, the more understanding you can receive, the better you'll be able to respond. I have a mentor, all right, in my life, and I really learned this lesson through him: respond, don't react. And so we have these conversations, and then we usually bookend the meeting with, all right, you have a great day, respond, don't react, shalom. Like that's a quotable. But it's so true. For you to respond and not react, you have to be listening. Because if you're just reacting, then you're not listening. You're responding off of a feeling, really. You're just like, this is what you said, da-da-da-da. And it's like, that's not even what the person meant. So listening, I would say is if you're not listening in business, you're going to be very unsuccessful because you're not going to know what your customers want, and you're not going to be able to pivot quickly because you're going to think, this is my idea and it sounds so good to me. And so I'm going to name my business because the title is clever to me. I'm going to create this product because it looks good to me. But you're not trying to buy from you. The market is trying to buy from you.
And we had a real shout out to when we had a coach up in our marketing event, our first marketing event, and someone was talking about someone after they paid for the VIP dinner, they went to the VIP dinner and they decided from that, they had clarity that they're not going to buy this business or go into business because they weren't ready for it. It was like they gained clarity through that, and we were like, that's success. You think success is that. And they took the business and they ran and lived happily ever after. They actually gained the clarity of saying, based upon the questions this coach is posing of me, I am not ready to do this. Thank you. I'm going to be free to do what I need to do.
They were actually happy. They were like, well, I paid to be here, but I saved myself a lot of time and a lot of energy because I got all the answers that I needed in one place.
Come on.
And she had a good time.
Let's go. Got a good meal. So it's, I want to say this last thing. I saw a video today that was, speaking of listening, Toyota was known as one brand. It was known as this brand that had reliable cars. It's a Japanese company, right? And Americans were consuming it but they wanted to get a different market share, and they felt that they were getting kind of locked into just being known as, hey, you're doing one thing. This is all that Toyota is for. So they wanted to get into the high-end luxury brand, but they didn't know how. And so somebody on their team said, why don't we change the logo on it and position it differently? It's not a question of the product. They like our product, but it's a question of how we position it in the brand. So they changed it and they created Lexus, right? And it's this powerful example of they changed the logo, they positioned the brand differently, same company, and they said, because you look at the name, it's like luxury vehicle, exporting into America, exporting into the US, Lexus, right? It's like creating this, and it's the fourth, I think it's like fourth in their category for luxury vehicles that people purchase, the luxury brand, because they made a pivot at a certain point based upon the feedback they got from their customers. If they see their customers, the same customers going to go spend money with somebody else, they're saying, why can't we get another stream of income through these customers by listening to them and by adding on what in your business could you do to add value into, to bring in what strategic collaboration may not even be a new product but it might be a joint venture you do with someone that you're adding value into each other, and you are now boosting your profit and you're expanding your market share by doing these things. So we wanted to encourage you today with just these thoughts around how are we doing on time. I think this is a good stop point.
Yeah. Can I just add two things?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just two things. I'll say one thing that during the marketing event that was highlighted is that
Magnetize your marketing.
magnetize the marketing. Yes. Hopefully we can do that again this coming year.
2 more.
But one thing that was highlighting is that you need to understand that in business you are not the hero. Your client is the hero.
That's good.
For Mario, you do hair, right? Like, you do the service, but the person coming to you and finding you and showing up and deciding the hairstyle, they walk away the hero because they look good.
Yeah.
And I even think that for my last job, and I wanted my second point is UX designers. My last job, my boss, shout out to her, Sam, she studied UX design at UW. The way that she went about planning everything that we executed, UX design is literally the study of how humans want things done, how humans
Tell everybody
think.
what the UX means.
Yeah.
The UX is user experience.
There we go.
So and that's so big in business,
go.
right? If you can't figure out what it is that your clients need, what are you even going to create? And so her being our boss, you would never, I don't know, I wouldn't exactly think she led a whole group of educators to create curriculums. But she would always run back to, we have to interview the students and ask them what do they want to learn.
That's good.
How do they want to learn? And so we would do that. We would carve out 20
better.
minutes to hear from the students, and then we would go back and plan these, because all of it
Better
was
lessons.
engaging for us,
Yes.
right? We wanted to keep these students engaged in fun ways. So we basically ended up creating all of our lessons inside of Roblox, because we found out
That's
these
fire.
kids love playing
Spend
Roblox.
time with them.
We ended up teaching them how to make their own games because that's what they wanted to do. But at the same time, we were teaching them about social justice at the same time. So that just, people don't, they undermine, I think, I did, designers. Because I studied computer science and I studied to be a software engineer. So I was like, we're cool because we actually code it all and make it happen. But no, truly, if they did not create a plan and they didn't study all of these things, they literally even study where your mouse moves.
Yeah.
And do you see the size of this button? Are these colors making any sense?
Yeah.
All these pieces matter. And so shout out to UX designers and studying your clients. It's really key.
Get that feedback, get that market analysis. That's where we're going to land the plane at. We thank you and we appreciate you for tuning in. We had a great ghost episode. He's going to plug.
All right, we got one plug.
I felt the plug.
All right, the plug is coming, and if you found value from this episode, then I highly encourage you to check out our principles course starting next week. It's going to be the first 3 Wednesdays. It's a 3-week pre-Thrive intensive course. It's built for everyone. However, there will be individual lessons that you will come away with. The overall outcome of principles, should you go through this course, which I highly encourage you or your friends, is that you will be able to come through the end of this course being able to coach yourself, and you will have a 90-day execution plan on what you need to do to get to your next step in your business. And should you be in business right now, it will be the perfect segue into Thrive, where you'll be able to sign up now. Not everyone will be selected, so that is an exclusive cohort. But whoever gets into that cohort, so we highly encourage you to sign up for that as well, because we will rock with you for the next 6 months, providing you a lot of in-depth insights, mentors, coaches to help you lay out what you want to accomplish, and we'll literally walk with you over the next 6 months to make sure that you accomplish those goals in your business. So Principles starts next month. Sign up yourself, invite a friend to rock with you.
Principles starts
Next
Wednesday.
week. Next week. Okay, next
Thrive starts
is
next month.
The next month. Principles next week. Okay, so October
Yes.
4th is the first one. There will be a link in the description. Sign up. You won't miss out. Like all the stuff that we're talking about now, like you're going to get a taste of that in Principles.
You're going to get a taste of that in Principles. So sign up for Principles. Do all the YouTube-y stuff that helps us out. It helps the algorithm. What are you doing? Subscribe. Click that notification bell. Make a comment. Don't be selfish.
Like
Come
the
on.
video.
Like
Share
the
the
video.
video.
Share it. Share it again. Rewatch it. Do all that stuff that makes us all expand. We want this to get to as many people as possible. We don't want people to have a boring Friday or Saturday or Sunday or Monday or whatever. All right, so we are out. Shalom. Till next time. See you next week. No more ghost episodes.